Now hear this. This episode contains spoilers for Lower Decks Season 2, Episode 3 and 4.
Hi, I'm Hayley for Quincy. Traffic is currently heavy approaching the Seoul system as we start this first contact day weekend. Police are advising Helms people to simply fly up or down. Elsewhere, the Deep Space Nine parking lot is at full capacity, and there are currently no Federation vessels whatsoever in the neutral zone. More later.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another Nerd Escape YouTube show. And we've got not one, but two Lower Decks episodes for you to see what we thought of. And yeah, We Will Always Have Tom Paris. I love that name. And Twist the Next Generation and Voyager. Love it. Genius. Yeah. And Linda, you can shout out the other episode.
Mugato, Gumato?
Yeah, the Gumatos are back.
It's an amazing name as well.
Oh my God. Yeah, the ingenious of the 60s, Captain Kirk fighting a guy in a big woolly suit with a horn on his head. But yes, anyway, we're going to jump straight into We Will Always Have Tom Paris. And yes, Boimler is back on the Cerritos. Yeah. Yes, the original Boimler, not his evil twin.
Yeah, not the clone. The evil. Well, we don't know if he's evil yet.
No, we reckon the evil one's on the Titan.
Yeah, we don't know if he's evil. Yeah, we'll find. Yeah, we'll probably find out that he's the nemesis of the series at the end. But yeah, but Tom Paris, I love Robbie. He's great. So it's good to see Tom Paris back. Of course, they announced it in advance, so it wasn't a big surprise.
It was nicely done. It was a small cameo role. It fit in perfect with the episode. Boimler's having issues with security. People did spot this going back, that Shax was still on the credits.
In the credits,
wondering, was he going to come back? And in true Lower Decks style, where, okay, we have all been those Star Trek fans that get around the table and try and explain how Spock came back from the dead. And you know what? It is really pointless. They just wanted to bring him back, and they kind of came up with a half-ass excuse.
Yeah.
Now, you can try and work your way around it if you want, but you're better off just not knowing. And we have a mystery.
It was the best joke to do. Yeah.
You go to a dark mountain and you have to fight three versions of yourselves, and that's all we got. And poor old Rutherford is in fear.
Yeah.
And he won't pass on the secret that Shax said. But yeah, I love that part. That's just...
And it's actually, I would recommend stick on the subtitles maybe on your first watch. I've been just leaving them on for the first watch. It doesn't really spoil it, but it really helps. Because when the sound is kind of fading into the background, they still have the dialogue that the actors have said, even though you can't hear it when you're watching without subtitles.
So I heard about the Dark Mountain. You had to fight three versions of yourself.
No, it was three versions of your faceless father or something, and then he has to eat your face, or it was something crazy like that. You should totally put on the subtitles. It's very funny.
Oh, and then what you call it, of course, we now know that another species goes through something very similar to the Pungfar, except not every 7 years, 1 year.
Yeah. Sounds like a very... I'm not a cat person, but that sounds like a very cat thing to do.
Yeah, I love the whole back though. It was the box, and the best thing that I just found just so funny was the shuttle doing ramming speed into the Cerritos shield. Priceless. And damage? No damage.
Yeah, none. Yeah,
it's just...
I'm running out of words for every episode. So funny. It's so funny. It's totally my humor.
I think this was my favourite episode so far. I just like poor Boimler having to go through the tubes, won't admit that he needs help. I love the part at the end where he was walking into the wall. I was like, no, the door's out there.
That's just a wall with a seam. But it's actually a really cool Star Trek thing to bring back, people vanishing and maybe I don't really exist,
Also,
It reminds
actors
me of
walking
Hoshi.
into doors was actually a thing that did happen. They did walk into
Oh
the
yeah.
doors. There's been a few bloopers of them. I think it was more
Yeah,
TOS,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, the doors didn't automatically open, unfortunately.
Yeah, the people pushing the
So
yeah.
that would be the first episode that we missed last week, and I have to say it's my favorite so far. This week's episode, Linda, what did you think? It just dropped.
Oh, it was very funny. Now, I'm not 100% familiar with TOS. So I do know the Mugato looking guy. I don't remember the episode at all. But having said that, I loved the episode. It was brilliant. Even not having the knowledge there or the familiarity there, but how do you fight? You're a massive TOS
I'm just kind of
person.
happy that they've brought back a familiar species from TOS, which is really, really cool. I always kind of love that, and this is the great thing with animation that you can do this. Like to put a guy
Yeah.
in a white furry suit and put a horn on his head would just look crap today. And then
Oh
if you
yeah. Oh
try
yeah.
and then update it, you're just taking away from what it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we know like Discovery did the redress of the Klingons, and sometimes you're just better off either just recreate how it was. Now I know the Klingons have been updated about 2 or 3 times before previously, but don't touch. If that's what it was, leave it be. Don't
Yeah.
try and update it for this era TV. Just create a new species. That's my attitude. But yeah, I think it was one where Kirk's kind of like an again usual top off ripped. But
Oh
no, it was
yeah.
cool
Yeah.
to see them, and I just love the dealing with I love the way they do the Frankies. This is the
I love that
second
the
time.
Ferengis. Yeah, I love that they're the old style Ferengis and they have the whips and
Yes.
and I also love that they must have been wearing false teeth in the sound booth because they sound like they're wearing false teeth.
I like with the Mugatos as well that you can't use a phaser because it hurts their genitals.
Yeah, there was a bit in this episode
Yeah,
that
it was a bit
was very
on the raunchy
surprising to be watching at 11 o'clock on a weekday morning. I was not ready for that.
Well, I
Yeah,
love
that
it when the
was
two of them
something.
are mating and Boimler and Rutherford are hiding in the tree stump and they get concerned about the third one. And the
Yeah.
third one just decides to watch. And then when they
Oh,
come
yes.
out
He
of the
just
tree
wants to
stump,
watch.
the three of them are
Yeah.
tired, even the one that was watching. Just like,
Yeah, they're like, ew, gross.
yeah, and they're playing a kind of weird Star Trek game that, just have one of these things and they come up with this whole compromise with the Ferengis and give the Ferengis a new, let's create a resort
Yeah.
and like think of your
We're-
profits and it's a
Yeah,
slow
that
one,
was
but you
great.
make loads of money. But we also
Yeah.
seen an interesting old TNG sport reappear.
Yeah, Anbo Jutsu, or I think it's called.
Mambo Jitsu, yes.
Mambo Jitsu.
Riker and his dad loves to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of gladiators. Just
Oh, yeah. Up on the
banging
podium.
people with the
Boom, 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 boom.
spongy things. Yeah.
And yeah, someone spreading a rumor about themselves that they're Black Ops. Not mentioning
Oh,
Section
yeah.
31 though, which I did like.
I would totally do that if I was on a ship, but I
have
had
to
no friends. I
say
would be
it-
like,
Have to say
really
it to
awesome.
Mike, no mention of Section 31, just Federation Black Ops. Didn't mention the S31, which is
They
good.
did say it one time, but yeah, they were going with Black Ops. Just they mentioned Tuvok, of course. That's kind of the road they were taking. It wasn't a Section 31.
You should know about
It was
Section
more
31.
just she's
You should
what?
know about Section 31.
Yeah, no, well, they've known about it anyway. They mentioned Section 31
Yeah.
in the first season, so they know about it anyway.
It's-
But
it's
that's
not something you
that's
commonly
also a
discuss.
joke.
Yeah.
That's
It's not-
also a joke that
Yeah.
everyone knows about Section 31.
Yeah,
No,
the
I'll allow
mysterious
that.
hidden thing. But like, yeah, this episode to me wasn't one of my favorites. But I have to say one thing: I like the episode. I like just going back. As you said, the Ferengi whips, really, really cool. I don't know why they disappeared. old TOS aliens. We got to see like the previous episode as well, Orion Camp. It's just they're keeping it in the Star Trek, and like it's just amazing that like the guys on Lower Decks and Mike can just bring in so many familiar Star Trek aliens and create a 20-minute show, which is good, and it's just still begs to believe. I'm just hoping that Strange New Worlds kind of goes into this without kind of trying to modernize things too much. Like the Disco Prize looks fantastic. I believe I've heard rumors that they might be changing a few things on the Disco Prize. Be interesting. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, it might come out looking like a sovereign class. What are you going to do?
I'd cry if it comes out looking like a sovereign class. They did a great job with the redesign of the ship. Leave it be.
Yeah.
It's
lovely.
It'd be nice to see it in more traditional colours. Like John Eves and Scott Snyder did a fantastic job. If you look through the Eagle Moss magazines, depicting the ship, and it was more in line with TOS, but people turned around and went, no, we kind of wanted to fit into the Discovery universe. They're like, does every single ship have to have the same paint scheme? No. Jesus, lads, no. But anyhow, I just love the way what Lower Decks does, and I think for other producers of shows coming down the line, I think it's a way to go. You know what I mean? It's like Discovery is now off in the 31st century. You can have just loads of new aliens, or you can revisit some of the older aliens and catch up where they are, but try and keep it. Like, I think we've seen Cardassian in a Discovery trailer.
There was a Cardassian in the last season.
Oh, the last season, that's right.
Yeah.
And the makeup was nearly pretty much spot on. So it's like, stuff that way.
And I liked the Denobulans in Lower Decks.
Yes, the Denobians. I forgot about that. And I loved the way that when the Mugato jumped out, their faces puffed.
Pufferfish.
Brilliant. I thought they were Cardassians initially at the start. And the other one, going back to the Tom Paris one as well, I loved. Kazon!
Kazon!
Look. Lower Decks is just becoming a nice thing to wake up to on a Friday morning. Puts you in a great mood, I think. I think it really puts you in a great mood.
But Amazon, would you put it out a bit earlier? 11 o'clock is too late. I have things to do.
Well, it's handy for us to film on Friday morning to get the show kind of out for around Saturday.
Yeah, would you please put it out at 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock. Or midnight last night would have been great as well.
Yeah, it still hasn't happened yet, unfortunately. I don't know what the story is with that.
It's a pain. It's such a pain.
Yeah, so anyhow, we should be back next week, and hopefully we'll have a guest on the show, because there's so much, and we're not going to discuss the Star Trek Prodigy opening sequence. We're going to save that for our guest, and the plan is Star Trek Day is on Wednesday. 55 years old Star Trek. Wow. So hopefully we'll have some news from that. We'll have the Star Trek Prodigy trailer and an episode of Lower Decks to review next week. Please, God, that is lots for us to talk about.
That's a lot, yeah.
Anything that you want to add before we wrap up this podcast, Linda?
No, because I've been staying off Twitter. I don't know what's going on the last couple of days. So I have nothing at all to add, other than I'm wearing my lovely Spock ear warmers because it's coming into autumn and I'm absolutely freezing. Got my layers on, so that means we're halfway through the season of Lower Decks because summer's over.
Well, halfway through season of Lower Decks isn't too bad, because that means another series is soon about to drop.
Yeah.
Strange New World. Well, I'd say actually that's going to be probably the big announcement. We'll probably get the date.
That's what we'll know next week.
When stuff is going to drop. So it'd be really, really cool. So, and if you want to follow Star Trek Day, StarTrek.com, jump on there. They have the whole list. They have everything where they're putting up all their streams, and Will Wheaton is hosting it. So yeah, I've liked Will Wheaton's additions to the Star Trek family. I like his kind of after Star Trek shows. So it should be a fun day to celebrate 55 years of Star Trek.
Yeah, let's do it in cosplay.
Ooh, we might do the next one in cosplay. Could be interesting. Yes, we might. We'll see. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we should be able to do something.
Let's do it.
Yes, let's do it. Anyhow, that's all from me this week.
I guess that's all from me too, and we'll see you next week. Take it easy.
Take care. Bye.